Stories are nourishment for the soul. So today, I'm going to tell you a few stories about how the angels saved my life. And I'll also share how some of my clients have achieved their own transformations with the angels. I hope these stories will ignite a spark of inspiration and hope in your heart, just as they have in mine, and that you'll enjoy seeing up close and personal just what happens when you start to work with the angels on your spiritual path. You won't want to miss this, so cozy in and get ready to receive an influx of light, love, and inspiration. First, a quick recap to get us all caught up. In our first 4 videos of this series, we covered a lot on working with the angels. I guided you through an exercise for tapping into your spiritual consciousness to directly contact the angels, and a technique for channeling the angels' energy into your life. I also mapped out the whole blueprint for working with the angels, including each step that you can take to experience the angels' guidance at an in-depth, life-changing level. These teachings are a lot more straightforward and easy than most spiritual trainings out there because in them, you're learning how to directly access the divine from within and reveal the miracle that is already inside of you. You don't have to be a spiritual guru or born with seemingly special abilities in order to connect with the divine. The angels want you to know that the miracles of the divine are for everyone. If you haven't watched the first 4 videos yet, go ahead and make sure you catch up. This information is super valuable wisdom that the angels want all of us to receive so that we can live up to the joy and love that our souls intend for us in this life. Now, with that said, let's dive into story time. I'll start with mine. After my first encounter with the angels, which I shared with you in the first video of this series, I was feeling so inspired and overcome with amazement and hope. But I was still struggling with depression and some imbalances in my life. And if any of you have experienced that, you know that depression and anxiety aren't things that can always just go away completely overnight. But luckily, my relationship with the angels had only just begun, and they stayed by my side every step of the way as I rebuilt my life and healed my depression and anxiety permanently. In all honesty, I credit working with the angels with what saved my life, because I can't imagine where I would have ended up if my life continued down the path it was on. So, the first thing I did after my angel encounter was try to learn everything that I could about the angels. I read and researched and filled my heart and mind with inspiration and ideas. I also started praying and calling on the angels daily, inviting them to guide my path and heal me. This brought me to my meditation practice. The angels began repeatedly sending me signs and synchronicities related to meditation. I can't even count how many people personally mentioned meditation to me, how many random meditation books came into my life, and how many random opportunities popped up for me to go and learn meditation in different classes or other events. So of course, I followed the guidance I was receiving. As I learned to meditate, I learned to gradually feel the angels' beautiful love and presence around me, just like I felt during that first amazing angel encounter. The more I meditated, the more I started to receive clearer and clearer intuitive messages from the angels. Sometimes the messages would show up during or after a meditation. Sometimes they would show up just as I was waking up from sleep. Or sometimes they would show up to guide me in my everyday life. These messages were all centered around self-care and self-love. Sometimes the messages would center around self-care for my body and health. Other times they would be about shifting my relationships, my thought patterns, or other areas of my life. But one by one, I followed every piece of guidance that the angels gave me. And within just a few months, I was honestly feeling better than ever. I had completely changed to a plant-based diet after receiving strong, repeated messages from the angels on this for me. I started exercising regularly while internally repeating healing mantras that the angels had guided into my awareness. And then often, while going about these exercises, it would start to feel as if years worth of emotional burdens and blockages were falling away and dissolving. I was getting more deeply in touch with myself and beginning to understand why I had become imbalanced and depressed in the first place. And the angels guided me to heal the roots of that issue through radical forgiveness and, of course, self-love. The angels also strongly guided me to leave behind toxic relationships that had been pulling me down and to train myself to release negative thinking patterns. I was no longer experiencing panic attacks, anxiety, or those heavy, depressed days where I couldn't get out of bed. I was energized, joyful, and so excited to be living my life. And the angels helped me to achieve all of this naturally, by the way, simply with spiritual practice, self-care, and self-love. And by the way, all these years later, I have still to this day maintained my healed state. Each piece of depression, anxiety, or pain I healed with the angels healed permanently. My state of being had revolutionized. And that's when the angels brought me to my next major synchronicity. I was in college during this time in my life and lived in a house with other students. In the kitchen area, we had a big bulletin board where people would post flyers. And one day, I looked over, and right in the middle of the bulletin board, there was a flyer that said, "Free Kundalini yoga class," with the date, time, and address below. Now, I had heard of Kundalini yoga before and had literally just been thinking about how I really wanted to try it. So I went. I walked into the class and sat down to join the circle of people sitting on the floor. We went around the circle, introducing ourselves and talking about what brought us there to the class. I introduced myself and said, "Well, I guess I've always just wanted to try Kundalini yoga." The other people looked at me with a kind of peculiar expression and said, "This is not a Kundalini yoga class. This is a shamanic journey group." Well, it turned out that this shamanic journey group had been meeting at the same time and place every week for the past 10 years. They had never made a flyer for their group. And in all those years, a Kundalini yoga class had never been held in that location to their knowledge. I went on to become a regular in their group and found that through practicing shamanic journey, I could experience the angels up close and personal, delving through the deeper realms of my spiritual consciousness into a world where I could see the angels, receive energy healing from them, and have direct conversations with them. Had it not been for that mysterious flyer, I might have never found shamanic journey, and probably wouldn't have noticed it if it hadn't said Kundalini yoga on it too. So essentially, the angels guided the perfect way to get my attention and for me to find the spiritual practice I needed in order to revolutionize my connection with them. Now, at this point in my life, one of my biggest dreams and goals was to travel. I felt like my soul was being called to new locations where I could specifically uplift and attune my energy to higher frequencies. I intuitively felt that there were certain places calling me so that I could unlock deeper parts of myself. So I offered that intention to the angels, and I asked them to help me manifest it. That's when I received divine guidance to do a 9-day prayer ritual. 9 is a number of manifestation and fruition. And for me, this felt like such a beautiful way to connect with the angels. So I did it. For 9 days straight, I engaged in prayers and meditations with the angels every night, ending the ritual by envisioning myself traveling to new locations in the world. I would imagine myself with sandy beaches, standing with ocean waves at my feet, and experiencing all the adventure that my soul was dreaming of. Now, on day 1, I received a message that on the 7th day, I would receive a sign that my prayers were coming true. On the 3rd day, I received the message that the angels were going to give me a spiritual symbol that I could envision to help generate energy around my manifestation. Right away, the image of a beautiful rose appeared in my mind's eye, and I was guided to send my visualizations into the rose. So I did. Then, on the 7th day, something amazing happened. I got up early in the morning to go to class and stepped out the back door of the house to find a giant pile of rose petals on the ground in front of me. As I kept walking, I found at least half a dozen roses strewn across the sidewalk on my way to class. I had gotten my sign from the angels, and they were not subtle about it. Honestly, that alone would have been enough to make me believe that the prayers had worked and that magic was absolutely real in this world. But that wasn't the last of it. On the 9th day, I kept getting missed calls from an unknown number on my phone. I figured it was spam, so I kept declining the calls. Eventually, a voicemail showed up, so I listened to the voicemail, and it was someone saying I had won a Caribbean cruise. I was skeptical. Honestly, it sounded like a scam and like something that was way too good to be true, right? But later that day, I got another missed call. So the next time the number called, I answered it, thinking to myself that I would at least tell whoever it was to take me off of their call list and, stop spamming me. It turns out that I had actually won a cruise. And I remember at the time I used to randomly enter contests online when I was bored and always hoped to win, but never really thought that I would. And it took me a while to believe it. But a month later, after having visualized myself standing on the beach in front of ocean waves many times during my angel prayer ritual, I was in the Caribbean. Despite being a poor college kid who usually didn't have enough extra money to even fill up my gas tank and my ancient beat-up Ford Focus, I was looking at crystal turquoise waters and powdered sugar beaches with sun on my skin and tropical wind in my hair. And the ocean was like pure medicine for my spirit. Once I was there, I understood why the angels had guided me to the ocean. It cleansed and lifted my energy to higher levels than ever before, as if to activate my ability to connect with the divine. After that experience, my heart opened to trust, surrender, and allow the universe to take me wherever it would. These are only a few pieces of a much larger story in my life where the angels have shown me their amazing love and magic so many times. And the angels haven't just shown up to inspire me in my life, but also in the lives of the clients I have worked with in my angel healing and coaching practice. Here are some pieces of stories from other people I've worked with in their own words.
It was such an amazing and life-changing experience connecting with the angels. Before the program, I didn't have much experience nor expectation, and my major intention was to receive clear guidance from my guides and angels so that I could better understand and fulfill my life purpose. As the course began, I started to feel a constant and gentle heat on the top of my head as well as my forehead. And many times I have experienced hearing a very high frequency deep inside my ear. Sarah told me that these are signs of the angels opening my psychic channel, and then I began to receive clearer and clearer guidance day by day. I remember almost every day I would wake up to a message which has so much clarity and wisdom that it clearly was not from my rational mind. And one day towards the end of the program, I received a message telling me that purpose is joy multiplied by dedication plus action. I was really overjoyed by how gently and wisely the angels answered my question, guide me to discover my truth.
I can describe with words the shift that happened inside of me by removing all paradigms and transforming my way of thinking. Also, angels helped me to release past life trauma that were holding me back and set me free for my evolution as a human being. It has been a blessing to take the angels connection path for me and my life.
For me, it has been an absolute blessing to have this guidance in my life and to help me see the potential that's there underneath those situations that we perceive as negative. So that has completely changed my outlook, and it's fantastic because once you do that, then the doors of possibilities start to open. So for me, these angel readings are like resetting your compass. Okay, so you're basically finding your true north. You're finding your direction that's best for you, and it's basically helping you to get back onto your feet and to find that clarity that is going to lead you into the path of least resistance.
It has been an absolute honor and joy to work with the angels over the past 15 years in my career as a healer and spiritual coach. Not only because I have received my own healing, inspiration, and blessings from directly connecting with the angels, but also because I have gotten to watch other people awaken their own natural and amazing ability to see, feel, hear, communicate, and awaken with the angels. After working with hundreds of clients around the world, something I feel incredibly blessed to be able to do, by the way, and credit to the fact that the angels are really guiding this work, I have seen that everyone has the ability to work with the angels to create miracle transformations in their lives. I really hope you enjoyed these stories today and that your heart is feeling just as full as mine with inspiration from the angels. My upcoming Discovery of Angels course is going to be comprised of everything I have learned from my own experiences with the angels over the years and everything that I have taught my clients to get them beautiful, healing results and divine insights on their spiritual paths. The course is launching in just a few days from now, and I couldn't be more excited to show you exactly how to uplift your spiritual consciousness and natural spiritual gifts so that you can heal with the angels, communicate with the angels, tap into the angels' wisdom, and of course, channel the higher divine consciousness of love in your life. Imagine the possibilities of what you can transform or create in your life with the angels' help. You're unlimited in spiritual truth, so dream big and let the angels help you. Now, one more quick note about the upcoming course. As you can imagine, it won't be possible for me to work with absolutely everyone. The angels always guide me to keep my online course groups relatively small. That way I can make sure that everyone can get the support that they really need. You know me, I really want to help everyone that I possibly can and spread the angels' magic everywhere. But I'm only going to accept a limited number of students in this group so that we can maintain a high level of support. So please understand that this is a genuinely rare opportunity and spots will be granted on a first come, first served basis. This is literally the best program I have yet created on working with the angels, and I wouldn't be surprised if it sells out in a few hours. So if you're feeling called to join, keep your eyes open and jump on board as soon as registration opens. In the next video, I'll give you some specific instructions on how to make sure you'll get a spot in the program, and also share some more info about the transformational journey that I was guided to channel from the angels that has resulted in this new Discovery of Angels course. That being said, thanks for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one, and know until we meet again that you are so loved and so very blessed. Bye!